Biden's Cognitive Decline, The Original Sin and the Monumental Crime of the Democratic Party. A new book titled Original Sin is about to be published and has caused a huge sensation in American media. The book exposes how Biden himself, his family, and the top figures in the Democratic Party have committed crimes from the time of the 2020 presidential campaign all the way to his attempt to run again in 2024. These crimes are called original sins because, as condemned in the Bible, they stem from greed and selfish desire, leading people to lie, deceive, and do evil. What is Biden's main crime? That he was already ill, mentally unwell, and unable to care for himself as early as 2020 or even before. In short, he was a sick man, yet somehow this man defeated Trump in 2020, a president with a strong record, widely regarded as one of the most energetic leaders in American history. Biden, barely clinging to life and not even actively campaigning, received 85 million votes, more than Clinton, more than Obama, more than any presidential candidate in U.S. history. The fabrication was so enormous it still sends chills down people's spines. How did this half-dead Biden defeat Trump? There were two key factors. The pandemic. It allowed for remote campaigning, so Biden never needed to appear in person. He just stayed in his basement sleeping while his handlers did everything for him. Massive election fraud by the Democratic Party. Through various means, they stole the election on an unprecedented scale in American history. Though the media has tried to suppress it for years, the fact remains. They essentially stole the entire election. This unresolved case remains the biggest mystery and wound in the hearts of many Americans. Congress, the FBI, and the DOJ must investigate it thoroughly and bring the truth to light. Biden is a sick man, a disabled man, and at the same time the most corrupt and incompetent president in American history. Under his leadership, we saw the horrific Hamas attack on Israel in Putin's brutal and inhumane invasion of Ukraine. Why? Because every bad actor in the world could see Biden for what he is, a figurehead, a puppet, the most incapable leader imaginable. His cabinet is full of fools, mediocrities, corrupt officials, and incompetent hacks. Blinken and Sullivan are nothing more than high school-level teachers, lacking ability and experience. In the face of authoritarianism, in front of Putin and aggressive rivals like China's diplomats, they stood dumbfounded, humiliated, sweating, afraid to speak a single word. As a result, America's interests were completely lost while its adversaries triumphed. The world was terrified by Putin, and America was left weeping like a loser in the corner. The Biden family's biggest issue is how they used Biden's presidency to enrich themselves. They exploited America's national fortune and opportunities for massive corruption, especially in Ukraine and across Asia, taking bribes from Chinese businessmen. Biden's son is a sex addict, a drug addict, a degenerate. His laptop exposed everything, yet every attempt by Congress to hold Biden accountable has been blocked by the evil Democratic Party. Most outrageously during Biden's term, America's withdrawal from Afghanistan became one of the worst disasters in human history. We saw mothers throw their babies over barbed wire, Afghan youths clinging to airplane wheels falling to their deaths, scenes that still haunt people to this day. Meanwhile, $85 billion in equipment was left to terrorists. Despite this catastrophic failure, Democratic officials and left-wing media completely covered it up. Even worse, no one was held responsible. Not a single person was fired or punished for this colossal retreat. The leftist media has relentlessly hidden the truth that Biden is unfit for office, that he suffers from dementia and is critically ill. Biden holds no real power. The real rulers are Obama, Jill Biden, and a few of Biden's so-called advisors. They control the pen signing executive orders. They control America while gutting it, stealing from it, and leading it to ruin. The leftist media played the most infuriating role. CNN, ABC, NBC, MSNBC, and all the other left-leaning outlets, including the AP and Politico, are all accomplices. Their crimes are too many to count. The New York Times and the Washington Post, the same papers that exposed Watergate and brought down Nixon, are now the leading mouthpieces covering up Biden's total incompetence. The media has long known that Biden is a walking corpse, yet they closed their eyes and lied. Back in the 2020 election, it was Original Sin's author Jake Tapper, CNN's star anchor, who viciously attacked Laura Trump on air when she exposed Biden's decline. He shouted at her, "You have no right to diagnose the president. You have no qualifications." But now he's turned around and written a book claiming Biden was already suffering from severe cognitive decline, far worse than what Laura said. This is a shocking and horrifying hypocrisy. This shows how deranged and evil the leftist media has become, like rabid dogs. People like Tapper knew the truth, knew the country was under the control of a small cabal, but deliberately deceived the American people. They committed a historic crime, an unprecedented political catastrophe, political fraud, and political betrayal. Now, in an attempt to whitewash their past, they've published a book, playing the wise man after the fact. But this book cannot cleanse their sins. Instead, it will serve as further proof that they hid Biden's decline for their own selfish interests, power, money, and influence. Now that Biden and the Democrats have failed, they try to profit off his dementia by writing books and making money. They want to benefit both going in and coming out. Their shamelessness, immorality, and evil surpass even the worst villains in history. Therefore, Congress must urgently hold hearings to investigate this book, to investigate the cover-up of Biden's crimes, to investigate Hunter Biden, and to investigate all 51 former intelligence officials who signed a public letter in 2020 falsely claiming Hunter's laptop was Russian disinformation, interference in the election by Russia. It's now proven the laptop was real, and the Biden family's corruption is real. But their letter swung the election and buried the truth. The American people were deceived into electing a president who has caused them 4 years of suffering. This is nothing less than a brazen assault on the U.S. Constitution, on American justice, on American democracy, and on the American people. Congress, the FBI, and the DOJ must thoroughly investigate these 51 former intelligence officers and hold them accountable immediately. At the same time, all media accomplices who covered up Biden's decline and corruption must also be brought to justice.